Hello and welcome to your Finest Life Now with Dr. G-Rex Kruhly. This is a weekly presentation in collaboration with the Go Global Business School. I'm Owen and I'm your Middliest. Welcome, Dr. G. How are you today?
Great, Owen. Great. Thanks very much.
Last week when we did the show, we ended on a very, very interesting topic. And we'll probably spend some time today to go deeper into this whole thing about morphic field. So maybe you can explain to us what is a morphic field?
Yeah, absolutely. If you understand morphic fields, folks, then you start to understand how everything in the world works, including yourself, and how everything, because everything is in and part of and influenced or controlled by morphic fields. So what is it? So the first thing, the easiest way for people to imagine a morphic field now is the one that we've created recently with technology called the cloud, computer cloud.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think people are laptops. Imagine people as, this is an analogy.
Right,
You
right.
have all these laptops, that's a group of people. And then the software and all the data in each laptop is the subconscious mind. And as they access their data and they play on all their various different programs and everything, they're uploading it all into the cloud, and the cloud is the morphic field. Okay? So their data is in the cloud. It's not in the laptop.
Right.
That's important. That's what we are also. Okay, so a human being, as we understand now with the sophisticated science and quantum microbiology, we are avatars. Okay, and you have our brain is a very sophisticated, incredible antenna array. Think of it as antennas. There are millions and millions of antennas on all of your cells. You're made out of 50 to 100 trillion cells. And everything is reading the information that's coming from the field. Okay? Now, the first man to coin the phrase morphic field is Rupert Sheldrake. He's a world famous scientist, microbiologist, alive and well in the UK, right? When he talks about morphic resonance or morphic fields, what he's referring to is, if I use the example of, say, birds.
Right.
So you have many different kinds of birds, and then you have the general species called birds. Okay, so bird. Why is it that birds are birds for thousands upon thousands and thousands of years? Because the information is held in the field. It's not just the genetics, and when we look at our body, like matter, that is the bottom of the cascade. Right. Everything is coming from, informed by, and the data is stored in a giant field so that it can continue. So that's Rupert Sheldrake's, in a nutshell, basically how he's looking at it. In my case, my specialty for morphic fields is consciousness, and how does it control or influence or inform behavior, attitudes, values, etc., okay? Now, what do I mean by that? So let's say we have human beings. Human beings is, general human beings has a big giant field. It always is making human beings. So you're not going to go from a monkey, the idea that monkeys became people, and none of that has anything to do with anything. They've already shown that. They have the studies. I believe it's something around 2,000 2,500 years ago, I don't know the exact number, suddenly human beings or Homo sapiens were there. There is no evolution where the monkey becomes. It's nothing like that. Just all of a sudden, we were there. Period. Okay. Now, there is a big field that handles that. An example of something with that field would be like this. All human beings age.
Right.
Even though it's been proven uncategorically that a single cell lives over 60 years. They've never actually died. They're in laboratories right now all over the world. Take a single human cell, and as long as they give it the perfect environment, it never dies. Okay. But normally in you and I and everyone watching, every second a billion cells dies and a new billion cells is born. Why is that? Why do we age? That is contained in that big morphic field where it is accepted and believed. And even if you take the biggest saints, sages, avatar, it doesn't make any difference. They age. They age. That is an example of a morphic field. Now let's look at how does a morphic field alter or can it alter or change behavior and attitudes in people? Oh yes. So let's look at Germany before Hitler. Okay, just go back and take a look at it. And then Hitler comes on the scene. And he establishes Nazi Germany. And not every German, but the overwhelming populace, they become Nazi Germany.
Right.
They have a certain attitude. They take certain behaviors, and we all know the story. Okay, that's a negative morphic field. Let's look at a morphic field for health. Morphic fields that have lineages are the strongest. So groups, you have the big umbrella fields, and then you have all the specialized fields that exist within that. So let's say you have a Linzai or Soto Japanese Zen Buddhist sect, okay? And that sect, they extend back, 5,000, not 5,000, 500 to 1,000 years old. I'm a member of Heiho. My morphic fields extend all the way back 1,000 years ago to Shinra Sabuo Minamoto no Yoshimitsu was a great warrior. I belong to 3 Japanese morphic fields that are lineaged fields from master to master to master, is an unbroken chain. Aziza is a Muslim. I also belonged to, for 4 years in the 1990s, I became a very strict Sufi under a gray sheikh, the grand sheikh of the Naqshbandi Tariqat. So the Naqshbandi Tariqat, that's an unbroken line from my sheikh all the way back to Prophet. That's over 2,000 years. Now, that's an unbroken line. And everyone who enters that tariqat, we call it a tariqat, that group, that morphic field is very strong. And it supports our health, our psychology, everything. And you see all manner of things that occur within that. But that tariqat exists in the bigger umbrella field of the Muslim world. Okay? And then other groups, other kinds of Sufi groups, they have their own field with its own characteristics. Linzai Zen is different from Tibetan Buddhism. But so the Tibetan Buddhists, are very famous. Their morphic field is incredibly powerful. And the field supports the members, informs them, and if you look at their health, it will astound you. It will astound you. And they don't have doctors, and they don't take rests, and they don't need anything, and they're never sick. Their skin, you look at their skin, look at their musculature, it'll blow your mind. But that's because of that field. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, Dr. G, do you have example of how this field influences their health?
Let's see, how would I do that? Okay, so the field, let's say you take, I live in Thailand now, and I spent 1 year up in the mountains in northern Thailand, okay? And in the wintertime, way up in the mountain up there, it gets real cold. And I was freezing. I'm a pretty tough man. I would drive down the road on my little motorcycle, right? And I had a huge, heavy leather coat with 3 big like sweatshirts on underneath it, because it's freezing rain, freezing rain. And I would just be freezing to death, and I'm driving very slow. And every morning on my way to teach at the school there was this group of little monks, one man, a teenager, and some little kids. Now they're walking along the road, right? Bare feet. They have a little thin orange robe, like a little piece of cotton. Bare legs, bare head, and there's wind blowing, and I look at these guys, and they're absolutely perfectly healthy. Perfect. They're never sick, nothing. It doesn't even touch them. Now, how does that work? Well, when they are a member of that, and they really identify with and go into that group, their various meditative breathing practices, the unity of their consciousness, it makes a very strong field. That field, we know from science now, has enormous positive influence on all their genetics, blood flow, heart, brain activity, hormone activity, everything. It makes it coherent, folks. Now, what does coherence mean? When you listen to that, if I hope you don't, but if you hear or you're exposed to rap, which is crap, and why do I say that? Well, it's real simple. Okay, it's not an opinion. It's just garbage. And how do we know that? Well, it's real simple. It's science. Okay, so let's say you take a piece of paper, make it real taut, take iron filings, and or sand, pour it all over the paper. And underneath it, you play that garbage. And what you will find from the vibration and the frequency is complete decoherence, just as scattered. And the pattern that will be formed from the filings looks like cancer. Because if you look at cancer, it's completely incoherent. Now, if you take real music, something beautiful that isn't garbage, and you put it underneath it, it will make beautiful patterns like snowflakes. Now, Dr. Emoto, you may have heard of Emoto. He's a very famous scientist from Japan. I met him in California. All he did was he just takes a word, okay, because a word is vibration. That's my secret to my technology. And he will say, love to water. Water, we know water will hold vibration. It'll hold frequency, the signature.
Right.
And then he has a process to suddenly freeze it and photograph it. If you say love, it makes magnificent, or any pretty word, make magnificent, perfect, coherent patterns. If you say something really ugly, like, and you swear or you're angry or there's something, the water, it looks like cancer, looks like sludge. Okay. Well, you're made out of water and you're made out of oil. Okay. So when you're in a field like a Zen monastery, or you go to a Vipassana monastery, any kind of or you go to a sacred site like Machu Picchu, you go to the Pyramid of Giza, the energy field there, and now they have the technology to photograph it, to look at it, and to measure it. It causes all of your cells, all of your physiology, all of the things that make you coherent. That level of coherence has been measured up to 10,000 times stronger than the surface of the sun. So you really think someone's going to get a cold or the flu? Hell no.
So, Dr. G, that's a very good example of how staying within that high vibrational state, the person can actually benefit from a positive morphic field. What if I'm a business? What if I'm a business and I want to let my business grow, take it to the next level, push it further into success? How can that translate to a business?
Okay, so give me a specific, what kind of business? Is this a business with a bunch of employees or a single guy?
Bunch of employees.
Okay, very simple. So first of all, you can make a field like that, eh? All you got to do, for instance, I like to use the example of professional sports. Let's take a football stadium, because there's a lot of people in there. So all those people, they don't know each other. I don't know how many thousand people in one of them stadiums, and then there's all the people, hundreds of thousands watching on television, right? All over the world. So there's a big championship game. None of them know each other, and they get in there and they're immediately unified. All the people for team A and all the people for team B, they are unified. And then you can see the behavior, they go haywire because they're influenced with it. It's not just the game, it's the field that they make. And then the field dominates their behavior. Sometimes people are trampled to death over a football game. Okay.
Yeah.
These are educated people, and they act like animals, and it's only because of the field. So what happened? They got unified because of the commonality of the game. So you have a corporation or you have a business with a bunch of people, however many. First thing you want to do, that's why you don't just get a job, or you don't want employees who just want to make $10 an hour and they're happy to have it. No. What you want is a group where there is a identity to the corporation or the business that they have. It's common to them and they're excited about it. Number one, that will start to unify them. And then the corporation or your business, of course, it needs its objectives. And the objectives have got to be part of the collective identity. So they're all on the same page. Now that's stage one. The second part of that, in order for it to be effective, is how do you maintain it?
Right.
You don't just do it like when you're going to hire your employees, you don't just do a interview and then you give them something in writing and you say, okay, these are the objectives, please study that. And you don't just have a monthly get together or something. What you want, like let's look at a negative example again with COVID, okay? COVID, the whole thing is nothing but a scam. And how do they maintain it? Well, first of all, they made a global morphic field of fear. And they generate it with it's basically illusion, but of a virus. They're not making a morphic field based on invasion or a bomb or anything like that, or missiles. No, they're using, because they don't want that. All they want to do is have everybody obey. So they make that field, and then how do they maintain it? Well, first of all, they have visuals, the mask. They have visuals when you go in anywhere, and the idiot takes the temperature, which is nothing but all of it is a visual that keeps reinforcing the fear that this virus, it's going to get you. Okay, and then they have their media and they have their news, and that lights up the amygdala in the brain that shoots fear and cortisol. Cortisol is as addictive as cocaine, and then so they're maintaining the field. Okay, so when you make a corporate culture, you want to maintain it. Like the monks, for instance, how do they maintain it? Well, number one, there's an identity through the name. I'm under this master at this monastery in this sect. So it's an identity. And then when they go in there, they have their meditation and their common practices. They live as a unity. If you build a real beautiful, like a culture in your corporation, and they are identified with it and with the goals, they're proud, and they have various ways, you make various ways to constantly enforce, or not enforce, support that idea, the unity. Then you will have a corporate culture. Now, a real good way, some of the big corporations, they'll get like Vipassana. They'll bring in and they'll have like a lot of the Japanese corporate, first thing in the morning, everyone takes like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. The whole corporation is all in meditation at the same time. That's a good idea. But if they're not unified in terms of the common goals of the corporation, and they don't have a real strong love of the corporation and the people who run it, if they think that the CEO is a jackass, but they're going to make a lot of money, the field has big gaps. What do? I can come into that organization and remove all of the dissonance. So I can blank out the unhappiness from the employee to the CEO. For both the CEO and the employee, I do the whole. And how do I do that? That's Morphic clearings, where I unite the entire group, or all the employees, all the people involved, and then I go through their field and I remove the negatives that are separating them, causing petty jealousies, resentments, unhappiness. When I do that, they come together. They become coherent. As soon as they have coherence, you have power. If you have decoherence, you've got nothing. Right?
Right. And that's one of the things that we're going to be doing on the 20th of March, right? Where everyone comes together, and we're going to work on a specific morphic field for a specific result. And so we're gonna start up a Telegram group for this particular session on the 20th, and we're going to keep that going and keep that building. Stay in touch with us for that Telegram group that we're putting into place right now. Stay with us every week on this channel so that we can have more questions. Please, if you have questions, if you're with us, you can give us a live chat. If not, make sure you drop us a question in all the other chats, and after, when you're watching the video. We love your questions. Dr. G works on questions. He's got an Instagram account that's scrolling at the bottom. You can connect with him over there too. Yeah.
I put all kinds of videos on there, guys.
Yeah. And we'll look forward to connecting with you all more in the following sessions. So
are we coming up on the end of our time, Owen?
Yep, we are about 25 minutes. Would you like to give us a few quick words before we end the session?
Yeah. Regarding my work as a doc, I have like a 99% success rate. The reason I have that is because of the precision that I can work in the field with. This is absolutely precise work. What we are doing here with Go Global is developing morphic field clearings. When we do morphic field clearings, not only do you benefit, but you benefit the collective of humanity, because the fields that I establish never dissipate. It will not regress because I actually remove the negatives. We don't just buffer it or make something and then it's gone. Like Owen was telling me how he's a meditation specialist. He was freezing in India waiting for a train, and then he meditated. He was warm. As soon as he stopped meditating, he started to freeze.
Exactly.
That's because he established an internal environment, but it dissipates after he puts his attention on it. When I do the morphic field clearings, folks, it never dissipates because it's gone. That's the difference between me and anyone else. And I can do thousands of people at one time. That's the difference. So if you join me, you're going to be surprised what happens.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So keep in touch with us. We'll see you again next Saturday. It's been a pleasure having this experience with you, Dr. G.
Thank you.
Wow. Telegram is up now. You can look us up with the tag Your Finest Life Now. Yeah. Come join us on Telegram, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, Owen.